everyone. Please forgive me. This is why I have been here actually early, but we're having some technical difficulties. This is my first time going live. As I promised you guys, I am going to be, hold on one second. Let me make sure I get the beautiful Mrs. Peggy in there. All right, all right. So, how's everyone doing today? I am Lee Hill. I am your hair coach. And today, as I promised you, not so much promise, it was supposed to be at 2, but I promised you I was bringing you my trichologist, my favorite person in the beauty world, Mrs. Peggy Nisbett-Riggs. She is actually not just a trichologist, she is a licensed cosmetologist. She is a hair loss specialist. She is also, oh my God, am I missing one?
A life coach.
A life coach. She's mentor. Also a mentor, and she's an educator. That's her. So those are the titles that she has, and I am so honored that she's given me some time to go ahead and educate us all about what is trichology. Educating you guys on your hair, right? So that's one of the things that I always stress to you. This channel is dedicated to you to make you understand or help you understand the value of your hair, how to take care of your hair, educate yourself on your hair as Black women. So today I bring you no other than my beautiful, she's been in the industry for over 40 years. All right. So we got a lot of information that we have going on. I can't, for some reason, this is my first time. So you guys just bear with me, but I have some questions I'm going to ask her. If you have questions, we may be able to get to it today, but because we're already running behind, just bear with me, guys. Okay. I appreciate you. All right, so Miss Peggy, say hello to everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having me, Miss Lee Hill. We met many years ago, and
right,
I talked about trichology at a show you were having, and I guess you were impressed.
I was very impressed with her. And she is the trichologist that you guys hear me talk about. That I send my clients when I did have my clients. I sent my clients to her. This is the trichologist that on that video that you guys see, and you're like, oh, okay, because they didn't understand what is a trichologist. They know about dermatologists, but can you explain the difference between a trichologist and a dermatologist?
Hi. Welcome again. My name is Peggy Nisbett-Ring. I'm a certified trichologist, and thank you again, Lee. The difference between a dermatologist and a trichologist is a dermatologist is a medical doctor. Okay. A trichologist is not. A dermatologist diagnoses and treats and manages benign and malignant disorders of the hair and scalp. A trichologist is a professional that analyzes and treats and manages hair care and hair scalp issues. So anything affecting the scalp, the hair shaft, and the entire hair is what a trichologist will manage and evaluate, analyze, and treat. That's what we do.
You guys go a little bit more further. This is something that I talk about because as a cosmetologist, right? I had countless times where I had customers that came in and they were like, hey, I went to a dermatologist. They told me I have traction alopecia, which they normally put us in a box. And it's not to take away from dermatologists because we have some great dermatologists. I always tell you guys to look for someone that looks like you, that can understand. So one of the things that I love about you, Mrs. Peggy, is the fact that you go deeper in.
Yes.
It's more intimate.
Yes.
So can you kind of explain how your consultation goes?
Okay, with trichology, we spend the time with you. Usually a consultation is about an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. We give you hope. We get deep into your lifestyle, your medicine, your genetics, your diet.
Right.
Those are things that play an important part in analyzing your hair. So we get to the root cause of the problem.
Exactly.
And it's personal.
Right.
Trichology enables us to have a individualized plan, not a one size fit all. You cannot
Right.
lump hair loss. There are tons of different types, about 85 different forms of hair loss.
Right.
So alopecia is the umbrella term for all hair loss issues. But you have scalp issue, you have hair shaft issues as well.
Okay, great, great, great. And I thank you for like explaining that, because a lot of times we just hear about go to a dermatologist. But if you want to get more extent, what happens is, and this is something I want to point out too, because I have sent my clients to you. It is not just the fact of understanding what your trichologist is, but it's also being able to be consistent with whatever the plan is, because
treatment plan.
Right, because in our world, a lot of times, as you know, we see some shedding or we're experiencing hair loss. A lot of times we want that fix it fast
Yes.
Thing, and I want you to kind of explain, not necessarily like go into so much, but what's the time frame where it's, your client will typically see. My client started seeing their hair growth when they stuck to the plan, and where do you see people break off at?
Okay. In regrowing your hair, it takes anywhere from 4 months to about 2.5, 3 years, depending on what's wrong with your hair.
Right.
So because it's an individualized treatment program, let's assume that you were having shedding due to poor iron, poor vitamin C, or poor zinc in your diet.
A lot of
You
us
must
have that.
first, and that is very common, and you're on medication, you must first, one, talk with your medical doctor, because we cannot take you off of any medicines. Number two, it takes some time. So it's
Right.
going to take anywhere from 2 to 6 months to really see those changes. So if you're having severe shedding or you're having balding issue, it takes some time for us to see it.
Exactly.
I recently cut my hair off to about 1/4 of an inch all the way around 2 years ago. It has taken me exactly 2 years to regrow my hair back to my shoulder.
Wow.
But bear in mind, I'm healthy. I take no medications, and I do a really good scalp cleansing,
Right.
proper diet. I eat no sugar, salt, or flour.
Wow.
And I know that's hard for a lot of people to do.
That is so hard.
But it is. I'm here and healthy. I'm 64.
So no Chick-fil-A?
No,
know I
ma'am.
love my Chick-fil-A.
No processed
No
foods.
Chick-fil-A.
I eat no processed foods.
All right, let's move on. The next question I have for you, can you explain, well, you just did the consultation and some of the issues that you see. What's the main issues that you see with us, of women of color? What are the issues that you see when it comes to us? Like, are we the ones that come in that are experiencing hair loss that may have low iron, like you said? Those are like, what are the main ones that
The main issues I find is us. Meaning that we want what we can't have. We're riddled with inflammation in the body,
Yes.
inflammation on the scalp, due to our lifestyle practices. That is, we're eating sugar, salt, and starch.
Wow.
Those are going to, first of all, build up, damage your gut, therefore damaging the rest of the body. So you'd have inflammation. So now when you have a lot of inflammation in the body, you've got to first reduce it. You've got to reduce it. You've got to have a lifestyle change. So again, you've got to reduce sugar, salt, and starch out of your diet if you're
Right.
going to make the changes. Not that you cannot regrow the hair, but it will take you longer. And it will take you longer if you're on certain types of medications.
So like if someone has high blood pressure or diabetic or something like that, or
High cholesterol,
chol-
they have to get it managed. Of course, weight management is a big issue for us. A lot
Right.
of our people are obese. So you've got to lose the weight. So therefore reducing the problems of hypertension and cardiovascular diseases.
Wow.
And by doing that, of course, you're under a doctor's care. You got to change your lifestyles, got to change your diet, and that's where you'll see the changes.
So you heard it first. You guys know I always talk about changing diet. I do pretty good for the most part, but some of those I definitely need to change, especially when it comes to the sugar, because I like sweet tea. That's
Okay.
that's
And
an
you
issue.
want to eat according to your blood type. Don't forget,
All right.
when you eat a lot of sugar,
Uh-huh.
you're reducing the iron in your system.
Whoa.
So you better replenish it or you will have problems. When you have low iron, you will have that raspy, thin, dry hair where it's constantly shedding.
Oh, listen, I can talk to her all day long. She is like encyclopedia. Okay, let's go to
And
the
I
next
don't want to
question.
overwhelm them
You're
either.
not. You're not.
But in the event, you can give me a call.
Right.
At Here Is In. You can go on my website, hereisin.com.
I'll go ahead and add that in on the video.
On the video.
So they'll see it. They'll definitely be able to reach out to you. We'll go ahead. What is the misconception of permanent hair loss? How do you help your clients change the mindset positively?
Okay.
Because I know you talked about being more intimate. So how do you get them to
permanent hair loss is caused by scarring. Okay, so there are 3 stages of hair growth. You have your anagen hair growth, which the hair is growing 2 to 6 years at a time, for 2 to 6 years. Then you go into your catagen phase, where the hair will regress, slow or rest, slow back, I would say, for about 21 days. Then it goes into a resting phase, which is the telogen phase. And at any of these stages, the hair can either break, shed, or regrow. Okay, especially once it's finished with the telogen phase, it goes right back into the anagen phase and regrows. When you have permanent hair loss, which is probably caused from inflammation, genetics, trauma to the scalp, or any kind of other illnesses, some form of autoimmune diseases do cause permanent hair loss.
Right.
Once the scarring is evident there's really not much that can be done. Okay, but keeping the scalp clean, trying to reduce the inflammation in the body.
Right.
Okay, using a laser, cold laser therapy does help to reduce some of the inflammation.
What's the laser? What's
cold laser therapy is red light therapy that would help to reduce the inflammation on the scalp.
Red light therapy. Okay.
Red light therapy, and one of the products that I use is from Hair Max, and again, you can give them a coupon, and then they can purchase it, and it will tell you more about it,
But what does it actually do? What does the red light do?
It reduces the inflammation on the scalp.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know they even had that for that.
Yes.
Wow.
Laser's been around a long time. I've been using lasers in my salon since 2004.
I haven't heard about it.
Yes.
That's
and
interesting. We hear about steamers. People they go into the salons.
They go into steamers. Steamers are good for cleansing the follicles of the scalp, the top part.
Okay.
The laser goes about 650 nanometers down deep into the scalp by sending the red light down there, and it's cool. And by doing that, that's how you're able to help reduce the inflammation. Athletes use it for their joints, for different parts. Use laser for different parts of your body also. So you can definitely use it for your scalp.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for that. Absolutely. What is your take on social media stylists and changes needed to be made by cosmetologists? I had to implement this in because I see it. I'm gonna add in, but I just want to know, as a trichologist, someone that studies the hair and everything, what is your take on it?
Social media can be good and it can be bad.
Right.
The advice I will give to anyone out there looking at social media is do your homework. Do your research well. What is your problem? Where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? Because remember, social media, to me, is designed to do a lot of hiding, backdoor business, meaning that you don't have to be licensed. We don't know if you're licensed. We don't know your qualifications. You can say anything. And yet you can have a channel and you can mislead the people because, number one, you may not be educated, you may be undereducated, you may not be even a stylist.
Right.
And I have seen where I've had clients come in and they're showing me these people where they're in their bedrooms, in their bathrooms, and they're doing hair.
Right.
I am a licensed professional. I have spent many years being educated, and I continue my education. So not only am I an educator that also teach, I also get taught.
Mm-hmm.
So I attend classes so I can continue my education. So with social media, again, you have to do your homework. You got to know what you want. You can't just go and, it's not a one size fit all. Nothing but hair care is a one size fit all.
A lot of times when you're dealing with social media and you go on, like I go on TikTok and I see them doing highlights to the hair, or they're flat ironing the hair, and that's another big thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, the same heat that they're flat ironing the hair on hair extensions is the same heat that they're using on the hair. So let's say the flat iron is up to 425. They're using that heat at 425. So you have bleached the hair, you have blow dried the hair, then you flat iron the hair, and it's like, yeah, it's fluffy and it's moving. But that person, we know as licensed cosmetologists that as time goes on, that hair is going to shed and break.
Yes.
And one of the things that I try to push and explain to my audience in my videos is the fact that a lot of the people that you see, they are hairstylists. There's a difference between a hairstylist, meaning they can style. Now, growing up in Miami, I knew girls who have never been to cosmetology school, but they can slay hair, right? So we love that. As black women, oh, she slayed it. You got the sleek ponytails. You have the flat iron, the weaves, the quick weaves, all these different things going on. So you're like, man, her hair looks good. But the issue that I have is the process to get to the she looks good part.
And the issue I'm having is the personal aspect.
Right.
That when you take that hair off, I am in the salon where the client is crying.
Right.
Because when they take the glue off and it is completely bald, and the emotional effect it has on someone who has lost their hair or losing their hair, it's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. That's what I mean, from praying with the clients, from clients crying, just hopeless. And for me to give them hope, yet making them feel good about themselves.
Right.
That's the biggest issue as a trichologist. It's giving you hope and making you feel good again, making you regain that confidence that you can go out and work and do what you need to do in life. So having these styles and that you unattainable is the problem.
Right.
We need to want to love our hair, love ourselves, because this is our cultural identity. This is who we are.
Right.
And I know we get into protective styling. A
I'm
lot of times everybody talks about protective styling, and I ask them, what are you protecting it from, and who are you protecting it from?
Thank you. I say that all the time. I'm like,
who are you protecting it from?
What are you
What is the
protecting?
protective
You
styling?
never use your hair. And we do wear our hair, right? We want to. Oh, I'm wearing my hair natural, meaning I'm flat ironing it, which is nothing wrong with it, but that's the only time we wear it. Yeah. Once that silk wrap is over, now we're like, I need some weave in my hair.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's wrong. Protective styling is protecting you from the element.
Right.
The hot sun.
Say it again.
Protecting you from the element out there, heat, hot sun, the environment.
Right.
If you have a protective styling, you cannot put your hand through it, you cannot massage it, you cannot stimulate it. You don't have a protective style. You have something that's hindering you.
Right.
You want to have a style, even if you're wearing braids, you want to be able to mist it with a little apple cider vinegar and water every day.
You hear that, ladies?
If you have weave, you better be able to lift it up and get to the scalp, massage it. I'm a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 10 children.
All right.
And we've learned that with anything else, we got to love it. So if we don't love ourselves and love our hair,
yes,
we're not going to have much hair. And that's what's happening in today's world.
Now, and then I'm going to let this go, but I have to talk about this. They have videos. We have videos on how to do our edges. Someone put up a meme, and it showed the 90s, right? And it showed that the women had hair. So can we bring this back? Where they had edges, right? So I went, and some of the people, they had some celebs like Nia Long or Sanaa Lathan, these different people, and I looked at them like, they still have edges.
Yes.
But through bad practices, this is something that is, why are we, even when you show the hairstyle, a lot of times I see the hair is all the way back. I say they lost the edges already, or they're showing you techniques to fill in the edges. The edges itself is an epidemic, and the bad part is that the stylist will see the hair is thinning right towards the front, and they keep doing that same, let's spritz it, let's put the heat on it, and I'm gonna sleek it back for you.
And they use edge controls,
Right.
which are chemicals.
Right.
With your edge, number one, these are the protectors. These
Right.
edges around your head are the protectors for the rest of your hair.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start, it's kind of like you take off the front door,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have any protection,
Right.
which is what they're doing.
Exactly.
So number one, we've got to be able to, whatever you do with your edges, you've got to be able to mist it and cleanse it. Taking a warm rag every night and cleansing off whatever you put on
That
it.
product, right?
Whatever you put on it, take
Right.
it off. That's
Right.
number one. And I suggest you take an old toothbrush and get a nice soft toothbrush from the dollar store and brush your edges every night for stimulation and massage. I do it with some oil. You can use either coconut oil or castor oil.
All right.
And I'm not recommending any brand, of
Uh-huh.
course, but that is something you can use on a daily. So now it's hydrated, it's moisturized, and it's stimulated. So therefore, you're gonna get your edges back. Yes, if you start losing your edges, will you get it back this week? No. Remember, it will
Yes.
come back 4 months to up to about 2.5 years. So I never want someone to ever think that this is an overnight.
Right.
This is a journey.
Right.
Just like every day you get up, you brush your teeth, you change your clothes, you take a shower, you eat, you use the bathroom. It's the same thing with hair care.
Right.
You've got to go through the whole process in order to get from point A to point B.
Now you guys see why I love her so much. Good stuff. We got some good stuff, okay? All right. Hopefully I'm asking the questions because these are questions that you guys are sending me in my inbox. So I'm like, let me ask a trichologist, someone who studies hair, right?
And another question probably is asked a lot, I get asked a lot, why is my hair dry?
Oh, please talk about the dry hair. Because
Okay.
it's funny, I just had the young lady I was talking to on TikTok. I was talking to the young lady. She had beautiful, fluffy, gorgeous hair, but her hair was dry. And she was like, why is my hair dry? And that is the number one question. So
That's
go ahead.
one of the biggest questions
Right.
that it has. Poor hydration. You need to drink half of your body weight in water. And I'm not talking flavored water, because remember, it's a cellular level. So
Right.
when you add sugar, you add things, the body's not going to do, the body's like, give me some water.
Yes.
I'm starving for water.
Right.
You need proper hydration, pure water.
Not coconut water?
You can drink coconut water because
Okay.
it has electrolytes in it. But water. My
Water.
first choice is water, your second choice would be coconut water.
Uh-huh.
But if you're flavoring the water, you're putting anything else, you're reducing the water to the cells in your body.
Right.
Remember, everything goes down into your stomach, into the small intestine, and is disseminated where it needs to go. So now, if you halt that process, you're going to have dryness because the rest of the body is soaking up the water. Remember, hair is a non-essential element of the body. It's non-essential.
Meaning
We
it's
don't
dead?
need, not
Yeah.
only is it dead, but
It's
we don't
keratin.
need it to live. We need to live to have hair.
What? Say
Yes.
that again?
We don't need hair to live. We think we do, but we don't. We need to live and be healthy to have hair. Once the body detects that something is wrong, it starts pulling and it will pull away from the hair. And
Wow.
that's why you lose your hair, the hair is dry, because other organs of the body needs the water, the pure water. So once the body determines maybe your eyes need it, maybe you're taking medicine for diabetes, for hypertension, it's going to pull the water and put it to where it's needed, therefore leaving your hair dry. And another thing that can happen, you can have low iron, low vitamin D, low zinc. You can also have a thyroid issue.
Right.
So when you have all these other things, you can have PCOS, IBS,
Yes.
malabsorption of the products, of the foods that you're eating. And that would also cause you to dehydrate. So it's important to drink half of your body weight in water.
Now, one thing I will push as well, because we're talking and we're two, what would we say?
At the round table.
We're at the round table, but we're more of the mature women, right?
Yes.
But I have seen a drastic change when it comes to the young ones. By the time they're in high school, have already experienced hair loss. I see children,
Yes.
little babies, 6 and 7, because the mommies are blowing. I've seen kids getting quick weaves in their hair. I said, oh my God, this is the because we are taught. It's just a vicious cycle, right? But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we have to instill what she's talking about, our diet and the water, into our children, especially at a younger age. Train them, right?
Yes.
Right.
But again, it goes with processing. So many mothers no longer cook at home. Oh, we buy food.
That's right. That's true.
I have been married over 42 years.
All right.
I'm a mother of 4, grandmother of 10, and I cook 6 days a week.
Can I come one day?
Yes, you can. You're surely invited. I cook 6 days a week. My husband and I both share. If I'm tired, he cooks. He's an excellent cook. But we both cook natural foods. So what is happening where our grandparents, why they have their edges,
and you have your edges.
I have all of my edges.
And I have my edges.
It's because of our diet,
right?
Our lifestyle. Remember, your body needs a good rest to heal itself. Okay, that's one. So it needs hydration. It needs proper nutrition. You've got to put more non-sugary fruits and lots of vegetables in your body. Remember, a lot of meats are acidic. So you want to get alkaline foods into your body. So you want to have a balance. That's how you start maintaining healthy bodies from inside out. Therefore, it will then get to the hair.
Now, I want to point out one more thing, and we're going to go to the next question.
I know, with children now, you're saying, so by them eating fast foods,
that's right,
you're ruining them. I also teach at a local high school 2 days a week. So you're ruining them from birth if they're giving them wrong foods, sugary foods, starchy foods, that's are easily processed foods, etc. I eat no processed foods, and I've done that strictly for the past 18 years.
Typically, I am the same way. I cook at home and everything, but every now and then I need my Chick-fil-A. That's my issue. But the other
I've
thing,
never had Chick-fil-A.
You're like my mom. My mom used to say, "Are you eating dog meat?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" She called fast food dog meat or horse meat. She was from the islands, so she didn't. Everything was natural for her as well. One of the things I want you guys to pay attention to, if we're so far 27 minutes into this conversation, have you noticed that she's not telling you about the latest product, right? Even though we have products here, she's going to explain those to us. But she's not telling you about if you rub this on or if you do this, if you like they have this product, the minoxidil, that's one. And I want you to talk about that, but I know.
So this is minoxidil.
And
don't forget that minoxidil is a vasodilator that once it's used, will basically bring you fuzz back.
So it doesn't bring you long hair?
No, it's not going to bring you long hair. So don't get it twisted. It will help to stimulate, not everyone. Some of it is very drying on the skin, especially on black hair care where it's already dry. So now you have poor diet, poor hydration, medication, not enough sleep, poor hair care.
Right.
It's not going to work for you. I can tell you that.
Don't forget the protective hairstyle.
And then don't forget
that's not really protected.
That's not protected. So now it's really not going to work for you. So you've got to make some lifestyle changes. That's why you need a trichologist. You need to come in, get evaluated, and get put on a program that you can stick to for 4 months to at least 2 years. Then you will definitely see the results. I have lots of clients that the beauty about coming here to my salon is that I have 4 rooms that I work out of. So I do consultation and treatment out of my rooms. So this is a private thing. It's an individual thing. There's no one size fit all.
Right. And that's something I always stress. You have your own DNA. A lot of times let me get to the next question, but I want to kind of like expound, and I'm glad you talked about minoxidil, because that is something people, we talk about. I've talked about it. Okay,
And you
minoxidil.
can't get off of it, because if you do, you would lose all the hair that you've regained.
Did you hear that?
If you come off of it, you will, you would lose the hair that you've gained.
Does it matter what age?
What age to?
Like if they're using minoxidil?
I can tell you it has sexual side effects. We're not going to get into on
That's for another interview.
But just remember that with anything that you're doing, if it has side effects, make sure you're reading up, talking to your doctor about the side effects. Right.
Good stuff. But I wanted to point out that, remember, if you looked at my video, why I love my trichologist, is the fact that she talks about natural stuff.
Yes.
And she touches, if you notice, she's from point A to Z. So she's not just talking about just the hair. She's talking about the inner part, right? She's talking about the practice, your regimen that you need, and then she's also talking about the time frame and the mindset that has to change in order for you to get there. So it's not a fly by night. I have had clients that got a sew-in. I never forget this lady, and she had a hairline like her father. I saw her father before, and I put the extensions in. This was many years ago. And 3 weeks later, we did a wash and everything, and she says, "Oh, my hair hasn't grown back here." I said, "It's been 3 weeks." I said, "Does your hair normally grow 3 weeks? How many inches does it grow in 3 weeks?" And she said, I said, "The weave doesn't, there's no magic potion in the weave."
In the weave.
Right, because we want it overnight. So we can get to a place where we understand. She's explaining to you all the value that you have in your hair. If we can get to the mindset that we understand how beautiful our hair is, and embrace that and change our mindset, we would be so much happier. Because like you said, I don't really talk about that part, but the emotional part where someone has lost their hair and then you have to say to them, it's permanently gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish that on anyone. I have experienced that many a days where I had to tell the client, I'm like, I'm going to send you to Mrs. Peggy. Believe it or not, for the most part, when I sent them, they were able to restore their hair because I'm a cosmetologist. But for the most part, I have had people come to me when I worked for Hair Club and said, hey, it's permanent. It's permanently lost. Yeah. So
once you've scoped them and you've done your evaluation of the scalp, and you can see the inflammation on the scalp. If it's permanent, it's permanent. The next step I send them to is a medical doctor. I'll refer them to a medical doctor or to a dermatologist to get a biopsy so that we are sure that it is CCCA, that it is cicatricial alopecia, because all cicatricial alopecias are inflammatory alopecias.
Can you give real quick the statistics of, you were talking to me earlier about Black women and hair loss, and you were saying that I think it's 85 million or something.
85 million plus men, women, and children throughout the United States have hair loss issues, balding, thinning, and hair loss issues. 65% of Black people, men, women, and children, are also experiencing it. So it's at an epidemic proportion. It is because we're wanting something we cannot have. And we got to watch what's going on out there in the real world. They're putting all these styles, they're putting all these things, and we're thinking, oh yes, I want to look good, or it looks good on me. What is the cost of it? What is the cost of you losing your hair over looking good? I feel I look really great because I've got my edges and I got all my hair. Whenever I choose to, I blow dry it.
Well,
and if not, I put it up.
I always say we're making short-term decisions that will affect us a lifetime. I always say that. I tell that to my clients. I said, what do you want?
Yes.
And if it's something that I know is going to be damaging, you got to find somebody else, because I won't even do it, because I already know what's the next step that's going to happen.
Well, the beauty about coming to a trichologist is they know we're not going to do anything damaging.
Right.
I definitely do not. I will not do extensions on here. I will not crochet on here, and I definitely will not glue hair.
Oh.
No.
Okay. That's the trichologist. All right. So the next question I have for you, you kind of answered it, the state of Black women hair loss. You answered that for me. What is your definition? You talked about that too, the protective hairstyle. Look at that. Can you tell us how can we start the process of regrowing our hair back or gaining more growth to our hair?
Okay. Regrowing your hair, number one, is lifestyle changes. Okay? So let's assume you're a healthy, young 20-year-old. You've done the glues, you did not lose your hair, but you want to then say, I want to get on a routine. Number one, it's cleansing. Biggest problem for us. We got to stop cleansing our hair every 4 to 6 months.
Right.
It's got to be weekly or bi-weekly. If you have natural hair like mine, it's got to be weekly or bi-weekly. Now, if you have braids in your hair, or you have extensions in your hair, or you have weave in your hair, you can still either lift, remove, and spray the scalp and cleanse it. The biggest thing is cleansing. Apple cider vinegar and water. So you'd want to use 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar to about 3 ounces of water, and you'd shake, and you can then cleanse with that. That is something I recommend to all my clients. Now, if you want natural moisture, then you'd add a moisturizer to it. So I'll do 1 ounce of apple cider vinegar, 4 ounces of water, 3 ounces of moisturizer, shake it up. The moisturizer's gotta have glycerin. And then you can mist. I do that every day to my hair, keeps the hair nice, fresh, and clean. Misting it, you don't need to wash it down. Now, you wanna do the edges. You wanna do that on a regular basis with the edges. Why? Body salts. You're sweating. It's very hot in South Florida.
Yes.
And cleansing would help. And again, brushing with a toothbrush, you can use oils on it or you can use moisturizer, but it's got to be a routine. Hair growth is a journey, not something you're going to achieve overnight.
Right.
Another issue you've got to contend with is genetics. You cannot, right now we're running a young lady, Kamala Harris. She's of Indian and black, or brown people, as they say. Remember, her genetics allows her to have that type of hair.
Right.
That's not the genetics of all of us. And
exactly.
We must go by our genetics. If you can't have it, you can't have it. Faking it till you're making it and breaking it off will not work. Let's work with what we have, and let's change our diet, remove salt, sugar, and starches out of our diet. Let's manipulate, massage our scalp, and that would help to regrow hair. Taking a hair supplement. Okay, one of the things I have here talking about is hair fat. And I just broke my bracelet.
Okay.
And I've got it in Ghana last year. It's tiger bracelet. So I've got to recover. And one of the things I love about hair fat is that it's a cycle program. So this is a 4-month supply, and it has all the necessities you need in it. A 4-month supply. So there's one for women, and there's one for men.
Okay.
And this one is for the immune, and there's one for PCOS
So
also.
what is this,
That's
like a
for
booster?
for your immune system. So a lot of times your immune system needs to be boosted up first, and then I put you. So you go on a 4-month immune booster, especially when I look at the blood work, low iron, low vitamin D, low zinc, not sleeping, taking other medications. Put you on an immune booster, then we put you on here.
Okay.
So we could either do the immune booster for men or for women. This is for men, and or those who are studying genetic hair loss. This is a DHT blocker for genetic hair loss. So you have to understand there's a difference why you take this. You don't just go in and buy this. And then this is growth factors. So now there are other things out there in the market you can use to regrow hair. You see what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something real quick. With you said for genetics.
For genetics.
So that person, like, they know that
Their
they start
testosterone.
Right. Once they start seeing their hair breaking off,
Yes.
the same part, like their mom or their dad, then this is what you would
That's
recommend?
what you'd recommend
Oh.
along with a nutritional supplement.
Okay.
So I usually recommend this as well as a nutritional supplement.
Okay.
Okay, and then the same thing, I recommend this as well as this for females.
Right.
But if their immune system is compromised, they have a thyroid problem, they're having other issues, I put them on that first. They go on a 4-month schedule of that, and then they go on the other 4 months. And then usually they're taking this for about a year or two, and you can see the growth.
Wow. know. So there is something for when, because you know, you have that question. I hear that all the time. A lot of women will ignore it. They'll say, well, my mom and my aunts, they all lose their hair in this particular area. Matter of fact, I just had a young lady on one of my videos tell me, hey, I have a bald spot, but I couldn't really go into detail, and hopefully she's watching. I couldn't really go into detail with her, but it's so many factors, you know.
Yes.
I can't diagnose you
No.
over the internet. You would definitely need to see a trichologist. That's what I
Because
recommended.
no, if she has one bald spot, is it caused by autoimmune?
Right.
Is it caused by thyroid?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it alopecia areata, where you have two identical bald spots? And that's generally stress related.
Right.
And some of it is caused by what we use, our practices. And it will pull the hair out. But if it's identical, it's usually alopecia areata. Now we've got treatments for that.
Question, you just said something. So that's due to stress, right? A lot of times.
Alopecia areata is generally due to stress. Yes.
Now that makes sense, because when I worked for Hair Club, I had this young lady, and she said, you know, Lee, my hair would grow, you know, for 3 years, and then I would lose it. I said,
Yes.
does it happen every 3 years? She said no. I said, well, what was going on in your life? And it was something traumatic.
Traumatic.
I said, oh, so it sounds like, I wasn't sure, because of course I'm just, you know, doing the hair system and everything. But in my mind, I was like, that sounds like that.
It is alopecia areata.
She had alopecia totalis.
Okay, so totalis is where
Right.
you lost all the
All
hair.
of it. So it would come 3 years, and then it would go away.
Go
Like
away.
her eyebrows, everything would
Everything
go
go away,
away. And I was asking her, are you under stressful? She said, my job is stressful, and she had experienced something. And I said, pay attention to that. The next time that happens, where you have to go on to it, because I said, that sounds like, and I didn't want to diagnose it, but I was like, alopecia sounds like a stress issue. It doesn't sound like, I know it's
Some of it is
autoimmune.
stress issue caused on from environmental stress, and some of it is caused by us putting glues on our hair and our scalps.
Yes.
And don't forget, you have a lot of people at home who are doing relaxers at home who have no license. I run into people all the time, oh, I'm doing my own relaxer. Well, listen, I am a cosmetologist of 44 years and a trichologist of 25 years. And I have never put a relaxer on myself. I cannot see in the back of my head.
Right, right.
So I will not attempt to it.
What about now you have, I see the YouTubers where they're like, oh, I put this bleach, I use 40 volume. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
From the root. Now, you know, at the root on the scalp, it's heat already, right?
Exactly.
So you know when you have.
And the younger they are, the more body heat they have, right? So you want to moderate that where you put the application. Again, I'm in my 60s, so of course my body heat will not be the same like a 15-year-old or 25-year-old.
Right.
So you can't do the same thing you do with her as you do with me. Definitely not.
That's good. That's good. That's good. We're almost done here. Because she is knocking them out, right? So you explain the importance of healthy scalp and diet. You talked about our edges. You explained how to clean, keep our edges, because we're using edge control. I like the wax, the Kera wax I use, but I still wash it.
Yeah, at night, take a warm rag and nice and warm, and put it on those edges, and it will remove. You want to get all that waxy off, because remember, glue, wax, they seep into the follicles of your hair. Where are they? They're underlining the scalp. So because they're inside, they're the ones that's going to cause inflammation. When they cause inflammation, guess what? You go bald.
Now, and that's interesting you brought that up, because I was talking to a good friend, and I was telling her beeswax, like, because we're talking about dreads and stuff like that. And I said, I know a lot of people use like brown gel and the beeswax, and I said, yeah, but that can cause breakage, because that wax is hard to wash out of the hair, because it's.
But first of all, it coats the actual shaft of the hair. It coats the shaft of the hair. Okay. So once it starts coating this off, after a while it weakens it. So that's why it's going to break. Okay. So now you apply it to the actual scalp, and this is what your scalp looks like inside.
This is the scalp.
This is the entire scalp inside. Everything.
Epidermis, everything, right?
Everything inside of it. Okay. So let's look at the scalp right here. Okay. And you see with the scalp, you see how thin the scalp is.
Right.
Right. And imagine if you're not properly hydrated, that scalp is even thinner than it is
Wow.
there.
Mhm.
So now it's almost like you're creating a second-degree burn when you're applying chemicals or you're putting the color or you're putting too much heat.
Right.
So therefore now you're creating the inflammation. You're creating pockets of inflammation. That's what causes the hair to also go
Wow.
bald.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. You know I have to do another interview with her, right? She has to be a regular. Okay. This is my last question for you because I told you already. One, do you have to be a licensed cosmetologist to go into trichology?
You don't have to be, but you should be, because
Right.
you would have a better understanding of hair care. So usually skincare or hair care are really good candidates for trichology. Not that anybody off the street could think. If you're off the street, I usually suggest you become a hair practitioner, a hair loss practitioner. You would get a lot of information there, learning with diet, hair care routines, practices, etc. Then you can branch off into trichology. But if you're already a stylist, you can go straight into trichology. A good trichology program, people like to say it's from 3 days, but I'm going to tell you, a good trichology program is 2 years.
They have trichology school for 3
You know,
days?
1 and 2 and 3 days.
Microwave, right?
Microwave.
You have no idea what
You
you're
have
doing.
no idea what you're doing, and you will not encompass or encounter all the different forms of hair loss. I mean, I have seen from pus on the scalp to bleeding scalps to trichotillomania, which is where you're pulling on it. It's a psychological disorder where they're pulling underarm hairs, they're pulling their pubic hairs.
Really? I didn't know they do that. I heard
To
about the
anxi-
scalp.
Yeah, to anxiety. COVID brought on a lot of hair loss with people with anxiety and medications, not sleeping, losing their jobs, people working from home.
Right.
You had a lot of people who went out to work, working from home, and had their children at home. That created a lot of anxiety for them. I experienced a lot of people in 2020, 2021, 2022 coming in for COVID hair loss all the time. So one of the things that was very good for them was the laser. I was able to regrow every one of my clients who was experiencing COVID hair loss with the laser.
So COVID hair loss is basically stress.
It's stress related, yes.
Oh,
It
I
creates
didn't know that.
anxiety and it's stress related, yes. And once they got into a protocol of how to cleanse the scalp, one of the things I use is what is called a Tricogel, which is a gel that they can rub on their follicles and stimulate it.
What does Tricogel do?
It helps to regrow the hair also, but it is used in conjunction with the hair, with your hair supplements and the gel and laser.
Now, I will let you guys know, for those of you that are in South Florida, she is located off of Oakland. Is it Oakland Park?
Yes,
But I'm
address.
going to put her address, her website information below on this video. So if you guys want to check her out, or maybe you have your email there too?
Yes,
If
everything
you have
should
any
be-
email and you want to, email her and you have some questions or you want to fly in, a lot of people fly in. I lived in North Carolina and I would fly in because I had one person that I I trusted when it comes to that. Maybe that's something that you want to do. I'll go ahead and add her information at the bottom because the products that she's showing you, these are not something you can get off of Amazon or just
and
anywhere.
you shouldn't go on
and
Amazon.
You should not.
Hair loss is personal, individual, and in order to get to the root cause of it, you need to see a trichologist so that you can get a treatment program. So going and buying any old stuff is not going to help you. That's why I don't push products.
I had a young lady, I saw a young lady, and I normally don't even comment on social media. I just look at it and I'm like, oh. But this particular, she was a young girl, and she was using minoxidil. She was like, look at my hair. She had lost hair and her hair grew back. You could see the facial hair coming in, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I just saw, it was like maybe from 500 to 1,000 comments. Oh, where did you get that? Amazon. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can't just purchase minoxidil like that. You
and
gotta,
not only that, they've got to see, do they have a heart condition?
Right.
Are they taking medication?
Right.
Are they hypertensive? So all of these things are factors that, number one, you need a medical doctor for, or you need a trichologist for. You just don't go out there and buy things on Amazon because it's easy to get. We have to stop looking for the quick fix.
Yeah.
We have to learn that it takes time. And like I said, regrowing hair takes anywhere from 4 months to about 2.5 years.
You heard it, ladies.
4 months to
And
2.5
gentlemen.
years. And a very good protocol. I'm checking for your iron, your vitamin D, your zinc levels to see where are they. Are you on medication before I suggest one of these? And once you need this, I will suggest this for you. I will suggest this if you're a woman, or that for male.
Right.
Now, again, remember, minoxidil has sexual side effects. So I am not one to put you on it, but you can use it. You will check with your doctor to get guidance, because again, trichologist is not a doctor.
Right.
We analyze and evaluate and recommend, doctors diagnose. So that's the big difference.
By the blood work, right?
But by using the blood work, scoping, my experience as a trichologist of 25 years, etc.
Okay, and this XTC, this is what we use, and we used when I was working at Hair Club. Can you talk about that? This is a shampoo and conditioner.
This is a shampoo and conditioner specifically for people who have DHT problems, genetic hair loss. That's basically for
Love it.
Okay, and what the shampoo does is that it cleanses the follicle gently, and there are 2 types, and for people with DHT related problems.
Right.
Here is a natural growth serum for those people who do not want minoxidil. There's a natural growth serum. And then when you're cleansing the follicles, remember that before you put minoxidil on the scalp, you need to cleanse the follicle in order to receive it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You sweep and then you
It's
mop.
like you're prepping it.
You're prepping it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Oh, it's a prep.
It is a prep. So you're actually prepping the scalp to get the follicles ready to apply either or.
Right.
Okay? So there are topical solutions that you can use, and there are supplemental that you can use for hair growth.
Okay.
And then there's hair growth factors. There's exosomes, but we're not going to talk about exosomes today because that's very new. And it's not a service I offer yet in my salon. Although I've been trained, I'm not offering it yet in the salon.
Okay.
Okay?
So there you have it, guys. I told you I was so excited to have her on. If you have not watched it, hopefully you'll be able to watch it throughout the week. This is one of those information that we need. It kind of coincides with the things that I've been talking to you about on my videos. Believe it or not, I love the fact that you kept talking about the natural hair. I really love the fact when you talked about cleaning the hair, because a lot of our women, we don't like to wash hair. I would have clients that would, because at the time, this was years ago, I would sew the weave in, it would be so good. They wouldn't come back for months. And I'm like, did you wash this? No.
Hair should be shampooed, and I must reiterate it, at least weekly or bi-weekly. You have body salt, you have sweat, you have the environment, you have medication.
Right.
They're drinking alcohol. One of the biggest things that we don't talk about is the alcohol drinking. Not me, but a lot of women drink wine.
Right.
What are you doing with the sugar in the wine? They all got that little patch on top.
From wine, drinking wine?
No. They're getting it because, guess what? They're not rinsing the body out. They're not hydrating the body. So where's the sugar going? Creating inflammation in the body, whether in the joints, top of the scalp, wherever it's going to cause it to go. Another thing that I usually suggest and I love is Hair Max Laser. And I usually recommend the 202, which is a full cap laser for at-home use. So they can come into the salon for those who live here in my general area, and I do have clients that live in my general area, so they come every week for weekly treatments.
Right.
Okay? Or I offer a coupon. You can also share that online, that if they wanted to just go in and buy a laser, I usually recommend the cap. There are different types of lasers, and a lot of times people will look, this I don't recommend, or these because they're low. on the scale as far as repairing the inflammation on the scalp. We're dealing with people who are having either edge problems or the crown problems or even the back of the head because of autoimmune problems, which is inflammation, or they're having poor health issues or scalp issues. So I generally either this is okay, but this is the one I generally recommend, the 202. I love that one. It's similar to the one that I have here because I have a full salon grade laser. This is home grade.
Yes.
So of course it's a little weaker than what I have.
Right.
Okay.
Love it, love it, love it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed yourself. We are done here. Again, any questions you have, I'm going to put her email, her information, where her salon is located here, and this is Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. All right, and so I'm going to put that information on there. And if you have any more further questions, you guys can inbox me. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I hope this blessed you. Mrs. Peggy, you were wonderful. You have blessed my what I call it, my community of people. You are a blessing. You have been a blessing to me for over 20 years. And I thank you so much for blessing my clients with your knowledge, your wisdom, and your humbleness, and your willingness to go over and beyond to assist women that are experiencing hair loss.
And I will mentor a stylist who wants to come into the profession. I have no problem. I've done that for many years. I have a couple mentees out there that are doing very well in trichology in different states, by the way. And you know, and you too, whenever you're ready to come on board and become a
coming on board.
Welcome aboard, because I've given you a tour of my salon and you see what it entails. It's not a
next level.
It's the next level.
I was like,
yes, it's the next level. It's almost like with nursing, going up the stages. Well, it's the same thing with cosmetologists. You have a lot of young girls who have had it started in the kitchen, but you don't stay in the kitchen.
Don't stay in the kitchen.
You don't need to stay in the kitchen. Go to school, get yourself educated. Don't fake it till you make it. Get the education.
Please learn, educate.
Learn, educate yourself, and continue to learn.
Right. So
because every year, at the beginning of the year, God has blessed me. I have a budget for what I will spend for education.
That's right.
And that is what you do as a cosmetologist and a trichologist.
I have went in each 4 rooms. Now, I've been a cosmetologist for over 22 years, right? When I came in here, I hadn't been here in a while, a few years, been years, right? When I came back to the salon, each room, I was blown away with the stuff that she has. This is the last thing. I promise I want to let you guys go. One of the things that I have learned, let's say I have 10 women that are experiencing hair loss. Normally, all the things that you said, if they changed that, their hair grew back. Maybe one had a medical issue that it needed something further, or they weren't able to get their hair right. What is your take on that? Because you have thousands of women that come through this door. What do you see a lot of times? What is can you give a percentage of? Because I always tell them, a lot of you are self-diagnosing yourself, internet diagnosing yourself, and you're like, or it's hereditary, but you don't know what to do with it. So a lot of times when you say it's hereditary, you just slap a wig on and that's it. So a lot of us are single. We don't have a marriage of 42 years, right? So now you're worried. Now you're getting into relationships. You're afraid now because now you don't have any hair. Because you never took the time to figure out what to do once it started losing the hair, or you may think it's too late. So I want you to give if it's 10 women that came through this door out of the 10, because a lot of them think that is permanent hair loss. A lot of them just count it off and just keep putting the wigs on, you know.
One is educating yourself, which is what we're doing here now. Number 2 is set yourself a budget and a routine. Let's assume that you're young, 20. We'll go into stages because having 10 women is not really telling me. Let's assume we have the 16 to 22-year-old who are young. You need to start eating properly. You need to start a proper rest so that the kidneys can get cleansed at night, the body can get cleansed, etc. When was the last time you had a colon cleanse? Every 3 months you should be colon cleansing your body.
Wow.
Okay, and that's for the young people. shampooing your hair regularly, not once every 4 months, not just slapping glues on there, because those glues are penetrating into the scalp. It will create inflammation. If you're not eating properly, you're creating inflammation in the body. And where's it going to go? If you're not properly hydrating to flush the toxins out of your system, it then stays with you. Then you start having joint pains, you start having all kind of breakouts on the skin, all types of stuff. So those are some of the things you learn. Now my 22 to about 40-year-old, which are also still menstruating, and may have irritable bowel syndrome, may have PCOS, they may have low iron because of poor eating habits, fibroids, etc., etc. So now we're moving on to the other set of women. So if you have the 10, probably about 3 or 4 will be in that group. You see what I'm saying? The first group, you'll probably have about 4. The second group, you'll also have about 4. And they also need to change their diet. So they all need to change their diet. Reduce the sugar.
But most of the time when you see that, you said the 4 and 4, are they able to restore their hair a lot of the time?
Yes, they can restore their hair.
That's my point.
You can restore hair. Reduce the sugar, salt, and starch. That's number 1. Proper hydration, proper rest, proper nutrition, proper supplementation. Like I said, something like this, with something, if the immune system is compromised, we need to get them on something like that. If they have PCOS, there's a system also for PCOS. You see what I'm saying? And then we start bringing them forward so that they can then be on a regular routine of a diet. And these things are done 6 days a week, not 7 days a week. Then we have your 45 to about 65. So now they're getting postmenopausal, they've grown their children, and again, they're not eating right.
And they're doing chemicals.
And they're doing chemicals, or they are on medication. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, gout, heart, cardiovascular, whatever it could be. It could even be cancer. That's the other 2 or 3 people in the group of 10. And they also need to change their diets, look at their lifestyles to see what it is. So everything requires an individual plan. You come in to see a trichologist, you get evaluated, and then we work on that plan. So just like I said, if you're 20 years old and you're thinning your hair, maybe it's just iron and vitamin D. I have quite a few young people, especially before COVID and during COVID, that iron and vitamin D and their zinc with this brought their hair back within 4 months. And I told them 4 to 6 months, and within 2 months they're like, Miss Peggy, look. And I said, continue the medication and finish it. And I put them on this, and then they're done. And then now they just have to change their lifestyle and continue, their hair is growing back. And I could think of several young girls that were under 25 that I was able to regrow their hair.
And a lot of times we don't realize, we don't figure out if our hair, we have low iron until we have a baby. And then the doctor tell you have low iron. You know, so
as a trichologist, one of the things I recommend to all of my clients is every year you should have blood work. How do you know? You check your tires. Check your blood work.
We are all done, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Please share. This information is not to, not for, our fun time, right? But it is to educate you, because like I said, there is an epidemic where we are losing our hair, and it's not really, a lot of us are not losing our hair, from my experience, through medical. It is bad practices. It is, like she said, poor diet, inflammation, all those different things. If we can work together as a community and continue to get this education and start helping our younger sisters, our older sisters, each one of us, right? We can start seeing a difference. And that is how you value yourself. That is teaching you self-love. That is the real self-love, when you can do that. And that shows people that you love yourself and you love your hair. All right. So thank you again. I am Lee Hill, your hair coach, here with our beautiful trichologist of over 44 years, Mrs. Peggy Nisbett-Ring. Did I say it right? Rig? Rig. All right. See you guys soon on the next video. Have a great one. Bye.